This video is sponsored by the Stamp Play Rail store. If you're into some hard to find or even vintage play rails, or maybe even the modern play rail, then go and stop by the Stamp Play Rail store today. Use code TheThomasKid for 10% off your first order. Hello everybody, Jared back at it again with another video. Today's video will be talking about how to make an iMac for your Gauge 1 model. I'll be showing you how to do it through Thomas and Percy today. Let's get into it. Now, Percy is a bit of a confusing one. Unlike Thomas, his iMac is completely different compared to, say, Thomas, James, or Edward. However, there is one thing that stays the same across all models is the eyeplate and faceplate. These two plates serve two different purposes. One is the eyes, so it doesn't fall out while in motion, and the other holds the face on. Meanwhile, when you remove it, it should look like this. On the back, when you flip it over, it should have this T-bar, or in this case, an eye bracket. This helps the eyes be able to move with the servos, which we'll get into in a moment. Without these brackets, your engine won't be able to move its eyes, and in order to move them, you would have to unscrew the front, which that would be annoying. But because I make my engines motorized, you can kind of just picture how annoying it could be without this. In my opinion, this is the most important part to get right, where if you don't put it on correctly, it can cause wonky eyes or even less friction of movement, which is troublesome. Now, for the important part also is the servo arrangement. Unlike Thomas and James, you have to position the servos to be on top of each other instead of as a T. Unfortunately, due to the compact area at the front, where Percy is compared to, say, like Thomas or something, unfortunately, you're kind of limited in room. So you have no choice but to glue the servo on the front, just like as shown, where it can work properly. Although you are very limited on movement, it actually works very well, as you saw earlier. Just keep in mind you also have to adjust the endpoints on your remote controller, just like on any other, RC car or whatever. You have to adjust it. After testing your iMac and as well as adjusting the endpoint, you can screw back on the faceplate, and lo and behold, you got yourself a working iMac. Personally, Percy was probably the most troublesome one, and as you can see right in front of you, this is an example using Percy's angry face. If your endpoints are not set up correctly, you can always adjust them as it is using the controller in the settings. Now that you have saw how you can put an iMac in Percy, let's do Thomas. Now, Thomas is a very easy one to explain, considering what I mentioned earlier. Just like what I mentioned earlier with Percy, this is the rundown of the controller. The left joystick does the motor, and the right does the iMac. I might do a video on the motor, but I really doubt it. But if you remove the face, just like on the real props and other replicas, you are left with this eye plate and face plate, which are held in by these screws on the bottom, which are just like Percy. If you remove these, you will be able to take off the faceplate and eye plate all at once. And just like I said earlier with Percy, which I'm going to say again, they do have an eye bracket on the back, which provides the movement. It helps them make sure that everything runs smoothly with the servo. As you see, there's a hole in the front, and that's where the actual rod feeds through and provides the eye movement. Again, if not adjusted correctly, it can cause problems like wonky eyes, or the rod will just disconnect from the bracket. Now that we removed the faceplate, you are now able to see the servos in full display. As you can see, Thomas's is completely a different setup compared to Percy. Just like the real props, the iMac is set up as a T. The back servo creates the up and down movement, and the front one creates the left and right, which, when moving in a fluid motion on your controller, it will provide the eye movement, just like you saw on the show, which will bring back some nostalgia probably when put all together. I hope not when you look at it, because that's not creepy. Using James's iMac as an example here, you can see how this is actually positioned. When glued like this, or maybe the front a little higher, depending on how you want it, you actually supposed to glue it right facing this way with a actual bracket for the servo right in his side tank. which can vary on your model depending on what you use. And this is the rod, which is just a paper clip. That's what I use anyway. A paper clip that just sits inside the hole on the back that I mentioned earlier on Percy and as well as Thomas. This is what creates the eye movement that you see on the show or when you're just in operation. And it's a butter smooth performance. As you can see, this is what it would look like if you were to glue it on, but overall, very smooth. Once you have put everything together and as well as adjusted the endpoints, you can screw back on your faceplate. Keep in mind, if your endpoints are not how you want it, you can always adjust it after screwing them on. That's what I do sometimes. It just depends on how it comes out. And as you can see, Thomas's iMac is moving pretty smoothly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make an iMac for your replicas. I hope this video helped you on how to make your own iMac. I used Jamostrainos files, which I will provide in the description a link to her folder where you can get your own models. And please, just out of respect, please credit Jamostrainos if you do publicly show off your models. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Goodbye, everybody.